Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode. And I'm absolutely thrilled today to have back with us Kenneth O'Neal. First of all, Kenneth, welcome back.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to be here.
Kenneth, we are going to visit today about something called the Prison Entrepreneurial Program. So, could you tell us broadly what that program is?
That program and the way I got involved was that when inmates get down to where they have like 3 to 6 months left in prison, we put them into an entrepreneurial program where we start working with them. Like the first day, we do a daily boot camp going through the skills and everything required to have a successful career, to have a business. We talk about leadership, we talk about marketing, we talk about sales and the administration of a business. So that's what we go through and talk to them about that in one day. And then we put them in a 6-month program where they will meet, they'll have workshops and seminars. They'll have speakers like myself come in and talk to them about particular personal development skills that they need. And of course, what I like to do is to talk to them about the career once they are released and they go back into, society. And so that's the first part while they're already in. All right. Then once they get out, then we put them with a mentor, someone that will work with them, a professional. We've got attorneys and accountants, we got business owners that work with them on a voluntary basis, and they do the same kind of thing. And start working with them on their skills, personal development, and then do some coaching. But the biggest thing is to be there to listen to them and listen to where they've been and what their opportunities are.
So, what type of prisoners are these? Are they pre screened in any way? Do they apply for this program? How do they get into?
Okay, so let's say that they had a sentence of 3 years. Okay, so in 2.5 years, they were on good behavior. They had some leadership qualities that the people at the prison actually saw. So they began to look at their records and see, and then they sat down, interviewed them, looked at what is your ambition? What do you want to do? What do you want your life to look like 5 to 10 years from now? And they do some heavy vetting. They go through and do a lot of work with them and looking for their ambition, their desire. I mean, do they have the intestinal fortitude to stay with the program and work with them on creating that intentional program?
How did you get involved in this program, Kenneth?
Wow. I didn't know I was going to do it. A friend of mine who actually is in the PEP program and he works in it and he's got the responsibility of several units. And I met him at one of our quarterly conferences in Houston. And I asked him, what do you do when you meet with people? You say, hey, what do you do? And he says, I've got this entrepreneur program. I said, that sounds interesting. How does that work? And so he started telling me and explaining it to me. And he said, how about you mentoring one of our guys? And so I ended up about 12, 14 months ago with a young man, 41 years old. I met him on Zoom last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I'm sorry. I actually ended up meeting him for the first time, and he's very important in this story. But I started working with him, and then I took all of my coaching, all my experiences, and I have this desire called you don't want to be guilty of the sin of the desert. If you've got something, you owe it to the general public to share it with them if it'll benefit the well-being of everyone. And that's my desire. That's my burning desire, is to tell people and share this journey. And of course, it comes from Mr. Zig Ziglar, all of this stuff. And so I was coaching the guy. We meet every Saturday morning at 9:00. We meet on Zoom. And so until 2 weeks ago, I'd never met him before. But about a month or so ago, he called and wrote a testimonial, or somehow or another, he got in charge with the people at PEP that he went through while he was in. And now he's on the part when he's out and he's working. He's got a full-time job. And right now they're working with him on his housing, but that's how I got involved. So they contacted me and they said, "Would you like to come and speak?" And so I talked to some of my chaplains, some of my pastors, and they said they're going to probably restrict what you'll be able to say. And I said, "I don't think so." And truly, when I went to the unit, I went through screening and all that, but they never told me one thing of what to do, how to do it, or anything. So I had 3 major topics that I did. And we did the first one on something I call gumption, grit, and guts. And they were all excited just about the title when I told them what it was going to be. And so gumption, you and I know gumption, that's your decision-making process. You do that. You get up in the morning, you make your bed. And then the grit part is for the long term. It's resilient. Once you get in there, you set those long-term goals and you work on them and you use your grit. So you got your gumption and your grit. And then this part of guts really is your moral compass. What is your virtues? What do you really believe in? And so when you put the 3 of them together with that moral compass, that intestinal fortitude, that what you believe in, what you stand on, your conviction, you're going to use your gumption and you're going to use your grit. And so they were excited about that. And then the second part of that workshop, I was there for over 3 hours doing this. But that second part is something I call leadership, legacy, and community. Leadership, legacy, and community. And so a leader, and we're all leaders. Like if in the family, there's a leader in the family, but the toughest person to lead is actually ourselves. We've got to come to grips with who we really are.
Right.
So I talked to them about the leadership and taking the stand of being a leader. And people, a lot of people talk about 2 dates in our life. We got the day we're born and the day we die. And everybody says those are 2 important dates, and they really are. But I want to submit to everyone that the most important day in your life is the day you understand why you were born. What is your purpose? So what is your purpose? And I tell everybody, if you can't really come to grips with what your purpose is, keep working toward it. But let's take a position of creating legacy. Create a legacy. What are people going to say about you 125 years from now? And legacy is really different than inheritance. Inheritance, you get $1,000 CD, you get 10 acres of land. That's an inheritance. But the legacy is those memories that you made with your grandfather when you sat on the banks of the river and he would bait your hook and you'd throw it in the water and you'd catch the fish. But then you finally realize one day, maybe you're 35, 40 years old, and you say, why didn't my grandfather ever catch fish? He didn't put any bait on his hook. He wasn't fishing fish. He's fishing for legacy and the memories that come from. And then, of course, the big thing is the community that we're all involved in. You and I have a community right here, me and you. We make a community of 2. So to make community work, you have to have 3 things. Support every member of the community. You got to give them encouragement, support, encouragement, and the third one, accountability. I talked to them, talked with them, and we had some great interaction. They were, the whole time I was there, they were very respectful. They were very interested. I mean, we had the guys on the front row and they were leaning over. They were, I mean, you could see I had their interest and we had a lot of camaraderie and back and forth and a lot of interaction. And some of them made the comments about, I wish I had this before. Some of them made the comment, I never heard about God until I got to prison. That's not saying much for our parents, but I really, really enjoyed it. And then the final part that I did I took our assessment tool that has 7 spokes on the wheel. And so the number one is your mental input determines your output. And they really, Tom, they were so excited about that when I said, it's the books you read, it's the music you listen to, it's the TV you watch, the movies you go to. But most importantly, it's the people you associate with. One guy stood up, he said, yeah, I got rid of her a long time ago. And so there was a little levity throughout this. But then we went on to character development or physical activity. What do you eat? How much exercise do you get? How much sleep do you get? And then your relationships. And I talked about, of course, the relationship with God, but the relationship with themselves and being honest to themselves. And then the relationship with their spouse, with their other people, their other families. And then we got a little bit into Dave Ramsey. That's what we use on the financial part. So I told him, I said, stay away from credit card debt as much as you can and be as debt free. Set that as your goal. So the financial part went real well. And then I talked about the personal care and the things that they need to do on a daily basis to take care of themselves. Because I made the statement, you cannot give what you don't have. So you got to have energy to give to other people, because you as a leader need to create the environment, create the atmosphere so that all your team members actually feel they're included, that you care for them. And that is the important part. We talk about kindness and people say, that's a random act of kindness. And I say, why can't we do kindness 24/7? Not randomly. Let's be kind. Let's really, truly be kind. And so that resonated with them. And then the last subject was their career. So we talked about the fact that what they've been through does not shape their future. You learn from your experiences. You learn from your failures, but you can replace bad habits with good habits, and you can create this so that you can become the best version of you. Don't try to be anybody else. Be the best version of you. And I tell them, I say, you're like a unicorn. You're very rare. There's nobody like you. And then there's some things in life that if some people don't do them, they're not going to get done. Everybody, you ask anybody, they say, it's like 85% of people say, I want to write a book. Do you know how many people actually write a book?
No, don't.
3%. But 85% said they wanted to. And I know you've written several and you're very good at it. But we ended up with career, and we did a little role modeling and asking certain questions and told them to be prepared that you have to respond to people you're talking with. You don't want to react to them. And the difference, of course, is at 10 seconds when you pause before what you say and just guard your word, be kind, be gentle with the people when you go out. There will be some people that will reject you, but there are people that will help you.
Let me go back to something you remarked on quite earlier, which was integrity. I interviewed a white collar criminal defendant today, not a defendant. He's out of prison. And he said, I just lost my moral compass. And he was making a ton of money selling some pharmaceutical products that turned out he was doing it illegally. And he admitted he had done that. And that was the start of his own personal journey of recovery and rehabilitation. But how do you convince, instill, put into someone that you have to do business with integrity if they don't have that base, whether that base is God, whether that base is Jehovah, whether that base is, I'm just going to do the right thing. How do you give somebody that, or how do you train somebody to not get near that line so you don't accidentally cross over it?
Excellent question. You know, integrity creates trust. Okay, so when we work, we build trust. The biggest thing that I think is an indicator to obtain integrity is your why and your purpose. Is that thing that you really want to do, is it big enough for you to be the right person? And it's all about virtues. It's all about the virtues and the beliefs, that idea of being around the people, being in a program where you're constantly getting, and this can be a self program. You don't have to go to, of course, I want people to come to me. I can teach them to be integrous. Is that a good word, integrity?
Uh, it may be a good made up word.
But, it's that mindset though. And you're right. When we let things overtake a lot of the materiality things, there are things that are more important. But it's really the way you live, and it's that major purpose. And that purpose has got to be a big purpose, something that's really big. And one of the things hit me the last couple of days or so is that we don't do the heavy lifting about our emotions, the way we feel. We don't reflect on, who did I help today? Like I said, why are we here? But the great things, and we have such an abundant world and so many options, but it comes home, and it came home to me a couple of weekends ago, standing on a newly dug place they were going to bury someone. You're standing there and you're thinking about the people that they're putting in the ground. And then you look at all of the other people and the tombstones on everybody all over the hill there. And you start thinking, what is the purpose? And I believe that you can be and do and have everything you want in life by serving other people. And the idea, and it's amazing that you were talking about that, because with my accounting background, I mean, I had lots of times that I testified on securities violations, and I had a course that we did back in the days. We called it "So You Want to Go Public." But I think the biggest thing there is being around the right people, having the right mentors, the right people in your environment. And then it's like one of the things that we talked about when I was up at the prison is I said, you guys know that on Friday night, you're at home with your mother. And they all laughed. But I mean, what do you do? What do you do every day? And I think you need to be intentional. You got to be focused on being a person of integrity, doing the right thing.
Kenneth, there are a lot of technical skills involved in entrepreneurship. How do you bring those skills to people who may not have been taught them, may not be bookkeepers, may not know how to run a business? How does the PEP program help prepare these men, and I assume they're men, for running their own business, literally?
Yeah. And this audience that I was speaking to, they're 18 to 25 years old. Okay. So that's another really great question. So the workshops and the program as we go, all right. So leadership is a choice. In fact, all of this stuff is you making a choice to do it, right? And do what it takes to learn how to. There's courses on teaching bookkeeping. There we have courses on retail. What happens at a retail course? How do you operate the cash register? And I mean, the technology today, of course, you can get a lot done in a quick amount of time, but we have those individual courses for all of those different things. The guy that I meet with every Saturday morning, he's 41. He's at the University of Houston now. He's finishing up his second year, and he's studying cybersecurity. And he actually has his full-time job. He's working with a security company with certain devices that are used in the security business. So no, yeah, we have those skills. And of course, a lot of the stuff that I work with and a lot of stuff that I do in my workshop is to all of the personal development skills. Okay, what you read, people you're around, how do you treat people in relationships, taking good care of yourself, eating the right food, getting the right amount of sleep, your diet, and all. We go through all that. So the whole area is of the life is looked at in this program, either before they get out, and definitely if they get a coach and a mentor when they get out, we hold them accountable. I mean, the first thing that is client on Saturday morning is I ask him, okay, last week we talked about procrastination. You were procrastinating on doing your homework for school. How did you change that during this week? All right. So his statement was, I didn't wait till the night before to do the work. I did what you told me and broke it down into little parts, and I worked on it every day a little bit. And I actually finished it 2 days before it was due. The way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So procrastination is a choice. And the biggest thing there is people are afraid.
Yep. So are you going to hope to continue with this program?
Oh, yeah. In fact, when I got a standing ovation, okay. And the guy, when they were clapping their hands, he said, are you willing to come back? I said, yeah, I'll come back. And then I got another standing ovation. Yeah, I'm going to be involved with it. I met some really great guys. I mean, they're real people.
Yeah.
And they made a mistake. And when I owned my construction company, my policy was if somebody comes in with a past background like that, if they'll come to work, and they'll come every day, you got a job. So what is that called? Second chances?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kenneth, unfortunately, we're near the end of our time for this episode, but before we leave, I wanted to ask you if our listeners wanted any more information on yourself to perhaps connect with you or find out more about your consulting practice, what would be the best place or places for them to go?
Okay. Of course, they can check my website at croneal.com, KRONEAL.com. And then my email address is merger, MERGER. And back in my accounting days, that used to be merger and acquisition. So merger, MERGER, at windstream.net. And of course, the good old telephone, 830-285-7010. 830-285-7010.
Well, Kenneth, as you continue in your work in this area, I hope we can continue this conversation to check in and see how some of these fellows are doing and maybe some of the new folks you might be working with.
I'd love to come back and share with you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love it. Thank you.